Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional BL Omegaverse stories filled with suspense, romance, and unexpected twists, don't forget to tap the like button and subscribe. It helps this story reach more people who love this genre, and it truly supports the channel. Chapter 1: The Body I Never Asked For. I know how this story ends. I read it 3 times before I died. The doomed Omega gets caught at the border of Iseok Yoon's territory, and by the final page, he's nothing but a warning whispered between pack members. A name nobody says out loud. That Omega's name was Haneul. Now I'm wearing his skin, and I don't have 300 pages left before the ending finds me. My hands are shaking as I press them against the cracked mirror in this cramped Chicago apartment, the one Haneul rented under a fake name to hide from the alpha who owns half this city. My reflection isn't mine. Softer jaw, darker eyes, a faint scar above the eyebrow I never had in my old life. But the fear in those eyes, that's mine, that's real. I have maybe 6 hours before Iseok's scouts sweep this block again. I know because I read it. I know the exact hour Haneul got dragged out of this exact room, the exact words Iseok said before everything went dark for him. I'm not going to let that happen to me. My chest tightens as I grab the duffel bag hidden under the floorboard, the one Haneul packed weeks ago and never used because he hesitated one day too long. I won't make his mistake. Whatever kept him frozen in that doorway, waiting, hoping, believing an alpha like Iseok could love someone like him. I don't have room for that kind of hope. Hope got him killed. The stairwell smells like rain and rust. My bare feet hit each step fast, quiet. The way you move when your life depends on silence. I make it 2 blocks before headlights sweep across the alley behind me, and my whole body locks up like a rabbit caught in open ground. I duck into the narrow gap between 2 buildings, my back pressed to the brick, my breath caught somewhere behind my ribs. The car door opens, slow, deliberate. Footsteps that don't rush because they don't need to. You can stop hiding, a voice says, low and unbothered. Like he already knows how this ends too. Running from me was never going to work, Haneul. My name in his mouth sounds like a verdict. I step out because there's nowhere else to go, and I finally see him fully for the first time, not through borrowed memories, but through my own eyes. Iseok Yoon, tall, still, terrifyingly calm, watching me like I'm something he already owns. I'm not him, I whisper, though I don't know why I bother. His eyes drop, slow and deliberate, to my stomach. Doesn't matter who you think you are, he says quietly. You're still carrying what's mine. Chapter 2: What's Mine. Before we continue, if you're feeling this story already, drop a like and hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Now back to Haneul. His words hang in the air between us. You're still carrying what's mine. My hand moves on instinct, pressing flat against my stomach, and something in me refuses to look away from him, even though every nerve is screaming to run. You don't know anything about me, I say, and my voice comes out steadier than I feel. Iseok tilts his head, studying me the way a hunter studies something that already stopped struggling. I know you're pregnant, I know it's mine, and I know you've been running for 3 weeks trying to convince yourself I wouldn't find you. The scar above my eyebrow throbs, phantom pain from a body that isn't fully mine yet. I don't remember conceiving anything. I don't remember him. But Haneul's memories flicker at the edges of my mind like static. A hand on my hip, a mark on my throat that isn't there anymore. And I hate how much my body responds to a man I'm supposed to fear. Stay away from me, I say, backing toward the mouth of the alley. He doesn't move fast. He doesn't need to. Running didn't work for you the first time either. That stops me cold. The first time. Like he already knows how this story goes too. Like he's read the same doomed pages I have. My pulse slams against my throat. What happened the first time? I ask before I can stop myself. Something shifts behind his eyes, quick and gone. You don't remember. It isn't a question. It's a diagnosis. I press my spine against the cold brick, breathing hard, watching him close the last few feet between us, with the unhurried certainty of someone who has never once been told no, and meant it. His scent reaches me before he does, cedar and rain, and something darker underneath, and my body betrays me with a shiver that has nothing to do with the cold Chicago wind cutting through the alley. "You're afraid of me," he says quietly, "but your scent says something else." Heat crawls up my neck. My scent doesn't know anything. Doesn't it? He reaches out, slow enough that I could step away, and I don't. His fingers brush the curve of my jaw, and my breath catches somewhere behind my ribs. I hate that I don't pull back. I hate that some buried piece of Haneul inside me leans into the touch like it's coming home. "I'm not going back with you," I whisper. His thumb traces my cheekbone and his voice drops lower, rougher. "You don't have a choice anymore, little Omega. Not with what you're carrying." Behind him, headlights sweep across the wall, and his expression sharpens instantly, all softness gone. "Get behind me," he orders. "Now." Chapter 3. Headlights and Ghosts. The headlights don't slow down. They swing straight into the alley, tires screeching against wet asphalt, and Iseok's arm locks around my waist, pulling me behind him like I weigh nothing. "Stay down," he growls, and for the first time since he found me, his voice isn't calm anymore. It's sharp, ready. Two men step out of the car, and I recognize the crest stitched onto their jackets even though Haneul's memories are still scattered pieces I'm only half catching. A silver wolf howling at a broken moon. Not Iseok's mark. Someone else's. "Yoon," one of them says, almost bored. "Didn't expect you to still be chasing after a dead man's Omega." My stomach drops. Dead man's Omega. The words hit somewhere I can't name, cold and familiar, like a memory trying to surface, and drowning before it reaches the light. Iseok doesn't answer. His shoulders go rigid in front of me, blocking my whole body from view, and I feel the shift in him, something primal rolling off his skin, like heat off pavement. "You're trespassing," Iseok says, quiet and lethal. "We're collecting what belongs to Doha," the second man says, eyes flicking past Iseok to me. He's been very patient. That name, Doha. It scrapes against something buried in me, a hand gripping my wrist too tight, a door slamming, a promise I don't remember making. My knees nearly buckle, and Iseok's arm tightens like he felt it too. "He doesn't belong to Doha," Iseok says. "He never did." The first man smiles, slow and unkind. "Funny," Doha says different. Everything happens fast after that. One of them lunges and Iseok moves before I can even flinch. Faster than anything human should move, and there's a sound of impact, a grunt, a body hitting the brick wall hard enough to crack it. My heart is slamming so loud I can barely hear my own breath. "Run," Iseok orders without looking back at me. I don't. My feet stay planted even though every instinct screams to obey him, because some stubborn piece of me refuses to be told what to do by a man who claims to own what's growing inside me. The second man grabs for my arm and I twist away on instinct, a memory flash hitting me so hard I gasp, hands around my throat, a voice whispering you'll regret leaving him, and I don't know if it's mine or Haneul's or both tangled together, until I can't tell where one ends and the other starts. Iseok is suddenly there, ripping the man's grip off me like it's nothing, shoving him back into the car with enough force to dent the door. "Touch him again," Iseok says, voice low enough to shake something loose in my chest, "and I will end you where you stand." The man scrambles into the car, and it screeches away, leaving the alley silent except for my own ragged breathing and the sound of rain starting to fall. Iseok turns to me, and his eyes aren't cold anymore. There's something rawer. "Who is Doha to you?" he asks quietly. I open my mouth to answer, and nothing comes out because I don't know. Chapter 4. The Name I Don't Remember. "I don't know," I whisper, and it's the truth, but it doesn't feel like enough. Iseok studies me for a long moment, rain sliding down the sharp line of his jaw, and something in his expression cracks, just slightly, like he's trying to decide whether to believe me. "You don't remember Doha," he repeats, flat. "I don't remember anything," I say, my voice shaking now, the adrenaline draining out of me and leaving something worse behind. "I don't remember you. I don't remember this life. I woke up 3 weeks ago, in a body that isn't mine, running from a man I don't know, carrying something I can't explain. His jaw tightens. For a second I think he'll call me a liar. But instead, he steps closer. Slow, careful. Like I'm something fragile he's afraid of breaking. "You've said that before," he says quietly. The exact same words. My breath catches. "What?" "3 weeks ago. Before you ran." His eyes search mine like he's looking for someone who isn't fully there. "You stood in my bedroom and told me you didn't remember anything. I thought you were lying to protect yourself from me." The rain is soaking through my shirt now, cold against skin that still feels borrowed, and I wrap my arms around myself. Maybe I wasn't lying. Something shifts in his face. Guilt, maybe, or fear, though a man like him probably doesn't call it that. "Come with me," he says. "Not as a prisoner. I need to explain what's happening to you before Doha's people try again." I should say no. Every instinct built from Haneul's fading memories tells me this man is the ending of that doomed story. The reason that Omega's name became a warning. But my body is shaking. The alley is cold. And Doha's name still sits like a bruise I can't press without flinching. "If I go with you," I say, "you tell me everything. No half-truths." "Everything," he agrees. And something about the way he says it sounds like a vow he's already breaking just by making it. We walk to his car in silence, rain soaking us both, and he opens the door for me without a word. Careful, deliberate. Nothing like the ruthless enigma the story painted him as. I climb in, my hands still trembling in my lap, and he slides into the driver's seat beside me, close enough that his scent fills the small space, cedar and rain, and something achingly familiar. "Iseok," I say quietly as he starts the engine. "Why does my body react to you like it knows you?" He glances at me, and for the first time, I see something almost tender behind the danger in his eyes. "Because it does," he says, "even if you don't." He pulls out of the alley, and my reflection catches in the window, pale, frightened, carrying a truth I haven't uncovered yet. Somewhere behind us, headlights flicker in the distance, following at a careful, patient distance. Chapter 5, What the Body Remembers. I catch the headlights in the side mirror, and my pulse spikes. Iseok. I see them. His hands stay steady on the wheel, but his knuckles whiten. Doha's men don't give up easily. The car surges forward, city lights smearing past the window in streaks of red and gold, and my hand finds the door handle out of pure animal instinct, even though I know jumping from a moving car would be insane. "They won't catch us," he says, glancing at me like he can read the panic climbing up my spine. "Breathe." "Easy for you to say," my voice cracks. "You're not the one they want to collect." His jaw tightens at that word, collect, like it costs him something to hear it applied to me. He takes a sharp turn down a side street, tires screaming, and the headlights behind us fall back for a moment before reappearing at the next intersection. "Talk to me," I say, desperate to fill the silence with anything other than fear. "You said my body remembers you. What does that mean?" He's quiet for a beat too long. "Bonds don't disappear just because memory does. Whatever happened to erase what you knew, the mark between us is still there, buried. That's why your scent reacts to mine. That's why you didn't run the second I touched your face." My cheeks burn even through the fear. That doesn't explain Doha. His hands flex on the wheel. "Doha is my half-brother." The words land like a slap. "You're what?" "We share a father. Different mothers, different packs." His voice is hard, controlled. "He's wanted what's mine since we were children. My territory, my title, and apparently now you." The car swerves around a corner, and my stomach lurches, less from the motion, and more from the memory suddenly surfacing, unbidden, sharp as glass. A hand gripping my chin. Doha's voice is close to my ear. "Iseok doesn't deserve someone like you. Come with me instead." "I remember him," I gasp, gripping the dashboard. "I remember his voice." Iseok's eyes snap to me, something dangerous flickering there. "What did he say to you?" "He wanted me to leave you," I whisper, the memory fracturing even as I try to hold on to it. "Before I disappeared, He said you didn't deserve me. Silence fills the car, thick and heavy, broken only by the distant wail of a siren somewhere behind us. That's not the whole truth, Iseok says finally, quiet and grim. There's more you're not remembering yet. Something worse. My hand drifts to my stomach again, instinctive, protective. What could be worse than this? He doesn't answer right away. He just reaches over, wraps his fingers gently around mine where they rest against my abdomen, and the warmth of his hand steadies something trembling deep inside me. The reason you were running from me in the first place, he says, wasn't Doha. My breath stops. Then who? The car slows in front of a tall iron gate, cameras swiveling toward us, and Iseok's expression turns unreadable. Me, he says. You were running from me. Chapter 6. Behind the gate. The gate groans open, slow and heavy, and my whole body goes still. What do you mean I was running from you? My voice comes out thin, barely holding together. Iseok doesn't answer immediately. He drives us through, gravel crunching under the tires, a sprawling estate rising out of the dark, like something from a story I already know doesn't end well for me. My hand is still trapped under his stomach, and I don't pull away, even though every instinct screams that I should. Not because I hurt you, he says finally, voice low, because of what I asked you to do. Which was? He parks the car in front of a house too large to belong to anyone who isn't dangerous, and cuts the engine. The silence afterward feels enormous. Choose between staying with me, Omega, he says, turning to face me fully, or protecting the pups by leaving before Doha found out you were carrying them. My chest caves in on itself. Pups, plural. Twins, he says quietly, and something in his voice breaks just slightly on the word, like it costs him to say it out loud. You found out 3 days before you ran. I press my free hand over my mouth, the weight of it crashing into me, even though none of it feels like my own memory. Just borrowed grief, sitting heavy in a body that isn't fully mine yet. Why would leaving protect them? I whisper. Because Doha doesn't just want my territory, Iseok says, and his eyes are dark now, haunted. He wants an heir with my blood he can control. If he'd learned about the twins before they were born, he would have taken you and raised them as leverage against me. The fear in me curdles into something sharper, and I finally pull my hand free from his, wrapping both arms around myself. So I ran to protect them from you, indirectly. You ran because I couldn't guarantee your safety inside these walls, he says, and for the first time, the ruthless enigma from Haneul's fragmented memories looks almost human, almost breakable. I failed you before you even left. Headlights sweep across the gate behind us, distant but present, a patient shadow that never seems to fully disappear. They're still out there, I say. They will always be out there, Iseok answers, until I end this properly. He reaches for the door handle, then pauses, looking back at me with an intensity that steals the air from my lungs. I need you to trust me, he says, not because I've earned it, because right now, it's the only thing that keeps you and them alive. My hand drifts back to my stomach, twins, plural, a truth I haven't fully processed yet, and somewhere behind my ribs, Haneul's fading memory whispers a warning I can't quite make out. Okay, I say quietly. Let's go inside. Chapter 7. Inside the Walls. The front door opens before we even reach it, and a woman steps out onto the porch, her eyes going wide the second they land on me. He's alive, she breathes, hand flying to her chest. Iseok, you found him. Sujin, Iseok says, a warning edge in his voice. Not now. But she's already moving toward me, careful, like I might shatter, and something about her face feels familiar in a way that makes my throat tighten. You don't remember me either, do you? She says softly. It isn't a question. I'm sorry, I whisper. I don't remember anyone. Her eyes well up, but she blinks it back fast, composing herself with the kind of practiced control that tells me she's used to holding things together. I'm your brother's mate, she says. You used to sneak into my kitchen at midnight when you couldn't sleep, You'd sit on the counter and tell me you didn't think you deserved any of this. The words hit somewhere raw, and for a second I almost feel it. Warmth, flour on my hands, laughter that isn't quite mine, but close enough to ache. I don't understand any of this, I admit, my voice cracking. 3 weeks ago, I wasn't even this person. Sujin's gaze flicks to Iseok, something unspoken passing between them, then back to me. Come inside. You're freezing, and you shouldn't be standing out here, not in your condition. Iseok's hand finds the small of my back, guiding me forward, and I let him. Too exhausted to fight the instinct that says this touch is safe even when my mind insists I shouldn't trust it yet. Inside, the house is warm, golden light spilling across wood floors, and it should feel like relief, but my stomach twists tighter with every step. This place is too big, too quiet, too much like a cage dressed up as a home. Sit, Sujin says gently, guiding me to a couch near the fireplace. I'll get you something warm to drink. She disappears down the hall, and Iseok crouches in front of me, his hands resting lightly on my knees, careful, deliberate. You're safe here, he says. Nowhere feels safe right now, I answer honestly. Something flickers across his face, pain maybe, or guilt, and he opens his mouth to respond when a sharp knock echoes against the front door, 3 times, deliberately. Iseok goes rigid instantly, rising to his feet, his whole body shifting into something coiled and dangerous. Stay here, he says. He crosses to the door and pulls it open, and my whole body goes cold at the voice that greets him from the other side, smooth, familiar, and wrong in a way I feel down to my bones. Hello, brother, Doha says. I heard you finally brought him home. Chapter 8. The Voice from My Nightmares. My whole body locks up the second I hear him. Doha steps into view past Iseok's shoulder, and even though I don't remember his face, something inside me recoils instantly. A full-body flinch that has nothing to do with logic, and everything to do with instinct carved deep into whatever's left of Haneul inside me. You shouldn't be here, Iseok says, blocking the doorway with his body. I have every right to check on my family. Doha's eyes slide past him, finding me on the couch, and his smile spreads slowly and unsettling. Hello again! I don't answer. My hand curls protectively over my stomach, and the movement isn't fully mine. It's instinct bleeding through, from memories I still can't fully access. He doesn't remember you, Iseok says, voice low and warning. Leave. Doesn't he? Doha tilts his head, studying me the way you'd study something you already own. Funny. He remembers enough to be afraid. My breath catches, because he's right, and I hate that he's right. Get out of my house, Iseok says, and the air in the room seems to drop several degrees with the weight of the command. Doha raises both hands, mock surrender, but his eyes never leave me. I only came to offer condolences, and a warning. Say it and go, Iseok snaps. The pups you're carrying, Doha says, ignoring him entirely, speaking directly to me now, aren't as safe as my brother wants you to believe. There's a reason you ran the first time, a reason buried so deep even you couldn't stand to remember it. My heart slams against my ribs. What are you talking about? Iseok moves fast, grabbing Doha by the collar and shoving him back through the doorway with a force that rattles the frame. You don't get to speak to him. Iseok laughs, low and unbothered even as he's pressed against the wall. Ask him what happened to the pack healer who examined your bond mark. Iseok. Ask him why she disappeared the same week he ran. Iseok's grip tightens, jaw locked tight enough that a muscle jumps beneath his skin. You're lying. Am I? Doha's eyes flick to me one final time. Welcome home, little Omega. I hope you like ghosts. He shoves free of Iseok's grip, straightens his jacket with deliberate calm, and disappears into the dark beyond the porch light. Footsteps unhurried, like a man who already knows he's planted exactly what he came to plant. Iseok slams the door shut, chest heaving, and turns to face me, and the look on his face isn't anger anymore, it's fear. Iseok, I say quietly, my voice shaking. What healer is he talking about? He doesn't answer right away, and that silence terrifies me more than anything Doha said. Chapter 9. The Silence That Answers. Iseok, I say again, sharper this time. What healer? He crosses the room slowly, sits beside me on the couch, and drags a hand down his face like the weight of the question is physically pressing against him. Her name was Mira, he says finally. She examined the bond mark on your neck the week before you disappeared. She said something was wrong with it. My hand drifts instinctively to my throat, fingers pressing against smooth, unmarked skin. Wrong how? She said it looked forced, he says, voice rough. Not natural, not consensual. The words hang in the air like smoke, and something in my chest goes cold and still. Are you saying you marked me against my will? No. His eyes snap to mine, fierce and certain. I would never. But someone did something to that bond. Haneul. And I've spent 3 weeks trying to understand what. My name from his mouth sounds different this time. Gentler. And it cracks something open in me, even though I still don't fully trust him. Then who? I whisper. I don't know, he admits. Mira was going to run tests to find out exactly what was done to the mark. And then she vanished the same night you ran. No traces, no body, nothing. The room tilts slightly, and I press my palm flat against the couch cushion to steady myself. You think Doha did something to me, to us. I think, Iseok says carefully, that whatever memories are missing from your mind weren't lost by accident. Someone erased them, and I think Mira found out how, right before she disappeared. A memory flickers, sharp and sudden, hands gripping my shoulders in a dim room, a voice murmuring words I can't quite catch, panic clawing up my throat. I gasp, doubling forward slightly, and Iseok's hands are on me instantly, steadying, careful. What did you see? He says, not a question, urgent. Someone had their hands on me, I breathe, in a room I don't recognize. I couldn't hear what they were saying. His jaw tightens, and something in his eyes goes lethal and focused. That's the night you disappeared. I know it is. My whole body trembles, the fear and confusion tangling together into something too heavy to hold alone. Iseok, what if the twins aren't safe because of something inside me, not just outside? He goes very still, and for a long moment he doesn't answer, his silence stretching thin and terrible between us. Then we find out the truth, he finally says, low and resolute, before it finds you first. Outside, thunder rolls low across the sky, and somewhere in the house, a door creaks open on its own. Chapter 10. The Door That Shouldn't Open. Both of us freeze. That's the study, Iseok says quietly, rising from the couch, his whole body shifting into that coiled, dangerous stillness again. Nobody should be in there. My pulse hammers as he moves toward the hallway, and I hate how badly I don't want to be left alone right now, even after everything. I'm coming with you, I say, pushing to my feet despite the tremor in my legs. Haneul, I'm not staying here by myself, I say firmly, and something in my tone must convince him, because he doesn't argue further, just reaches back and laces his fingers through mine, pulling me gently, but urgently behind him. The hallway stretches longer than it should, shadows pooling thick along the walls, and the creak of the study door ahead sends a fresh wave of dread crawling up my spine. Iseok pushes it open slowly, his body angled protectively in front of mine. The room is empty. Papers are scattered across the desk, a window cracked open just enough to let the storm air pour in, curtains snapping in the wind. My eyes catch on something pale against the dark wood floor, a photograph, half hidden beneath an overturned chair. Iseok bends and picks it up, and I watch his expression shift from confusion to something darker, something furious. What is it? I ask, stepping closer, despite the fear pulling at me. He turns the photograph toward me without a word, and my breath stops completely. It's me, or Haneul, rather, standing beside a woman I don't recognize, both of them smiling in front of what looks like a medical office. Scrawled across the bottom in handwriting that isn't mine. Found the truth. Don't trust the mark. That's Mira, Iseok says, voice tight. The healer. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold the edge of the photograph. She left this here, for us to find. Or someone else did, Iseok says grimly, to make sure we found it exactly now. A gust of wind slams the window fully open, scattering papers across the floor, and among them, a single sheet lands face up at my feet, covered in the same handwriting. The bond isn't broken. It was never real to begin with. The room spins slightly, and Iseok's arm catches me before my knees fully give out, his voice sharp with alarm as he says my name, but all I can hear is the storm outside, and the sound of my own heartbeat, screaming that everything I thought I understood about this story is about to fall apart completely. Chapter 11. Never Real. Never real, I whisper, staring at the words on the page, like they might rearrange themselves into something less devastating. What does that mean? Iseok's arm is still locked around me, holding me upright, and I can feel the tension radiating off him, coiled tight enough to snap. It means someone wants us to believe our bond was fabricated, he says. A lie. Was it? No. The word comes out fierce, immediate. I know what I felt the night I marked you. I know it wasn't manufactured. My legs are steady enough to hold my own weight, and I pull back slightly to look at him, searching his face for any flicker of doubt. There isn't one. Then why leave this note, I say. Why go through the trouble? Because someone wants me questioning myself instead of hunting them, he says, jaw tight. Someone wants me distracted. Thunder cracks outside. Closer now, rattling the window in its frame, and my gaze drops back to the photograph in his hand. Haneul standing beside Mira, both of them smiling like they hadn't yet learned how dangerous that smile would become. She knew something was going to happen to her, I said quietly. She left this for whoever came looking. For you, Iseok says. She left it for you specifically. She must have known you'd lose your memories and come back looking for answers eventually. A chill moves through me that has nothing to do with the storm air pouring through the broken window. Then she knew more than just the bond mark being wrong. Iseok's eyes darken. She knew who did it. Footsteps echo suddenly from the hallway. Fast, deliberate, and both of us go rigid. Iseok shoves the photograph into his jacket and pulls me behind him just as Sujin appears in the doorway, breathless, her eyes wide with alarm. There are men at the gate, she says. Doha's men. They're not asking to be let in this time. Iseok's whole body shifts into something harder, sharper, the calm mask finally cracking to reveal the danger underneath. How many? 6. Maybe more is coming. Get him to the safe room, Iseok orders, already moving toward the hallway. No. The word leaves me before I can think it through. I'm not hiding while you fight them alone. Iseok turns, gripping my shoulders, his eyes blazing with something between fury and fear. You're carrying my pups. I am not losing you again. And I'm done being someone things happen to, I say, meeting his gaze without flinching. Whatever Doha did to me, whatever Mira found out, I want to look him in the eyes when we end this. Something shifts in Iseok's expression, surprise maybe, or pride, and for a moment the storm outside feels quieter than the understanding passing between us. Fine, he says finally, low and rough. But you stay behind me. The lights flicker once, twice, then die completely, plunging the house into darkness, broken only by lightning flashing through the shattered window. Chapter 12. What the Dark Reveals. The dark swallows the room whole, and my heart slams against my ribs as Iseok's hand finds mine in the black, steady, sure. Stay close, he murmurs. Sujin's voice cuts through the darkness from the doorway. The generator's been cut. This isn't a random attack, Iseok. Someone planned this. Doha, Iseok growls. We move through the hallway together, lightning strobing through the windows in bursts that show the house in flashes. Empty corridors, overturned furniture, where the storm wind has scattered papers everywhere. My pulse pounds so hard I can feel it in my throat, but underneath the fear, something else stirs, something that doesn't feel like Haneul's fading memories at all, something that feels like mine, anger. We reach the top of the staircase when the front door bursts open below, and 3 figures spill into the entryway, silhouetted by the storm behind them. Iseok pushes me back against the wall, his body a shield, and I watch his shoulders shift, ready. Iseok Yoon, one of the men calls out, voice echoing up the stairwell. Doha sends his regards, and a message. Hand over the Omega, and the pups live. My stomach twists violently. They know about the twins. They were always going to know, Iseok mutters. Stay here. Before I can argue, he's already moving, descending the stairs with a speed that shouldn't be possible for someone his size. And the sounds that follow are brutal, fast. Bodies hitting walls, furniture splintering, a pained shout that isn't Iseok's voice. I press myself against the wall, hand curled protectively over my stomach, watching lightning illuminate the chaos below in broken, violent flashes. One of the men breaks free and starts up the stairs toward me, and every instinct screams to run, but my feet stay planted, because running is exactly what got Haneul killed the first time. I grab the heavy iron candlestick from the hallway table instead, gripping it tight. The man reaches the top step, reaching for me, and I swing before he can grab hold, catching him hard across the temple. He stumbles back with a grunt of shock, more surprised than hurt, and I don't hesitate, shoving him with everything I have. He tumbles down the staircase, crashing into the man behind him, both of them collapsing in a tangle at the bottom. Iseok looks up at me from the entryway, breathless, blood at his lip, staring like he's seeing me for the first time. I told you to stay put, he says. I did, I say, still gripping the candlestick. Up here. Something almost like a laugh escapes him, dark and startled, before his eyes snap past me, widening in warning. Behind you. I turn too slow, and a hand closes around my wrist, yanking me backward into the dark. Chapter 13. The Fight That Matters. I twist hard against the grip, driving my elbow back into whoever's holding me, and the hold loosens just enough for me to break free and spin around. Doha's face flashes in the next burst of lightning, close, furious, blood trickling from a cut above his brow. You've gotten braver, he snarls, for someone who used to beg me to save him from his own bond. I don't remember begging you for anything, I snapped, backing toward the stairs, candlestick still clutched tight in my fist. You will, he says, lunging. I swing the candlestick again, but he catches my wrist this time, twisting hard enough that pain shoots up my arm and the weapon clatters to the floor. He shoves me back against the wall, forearm pressing dangerously close to my throat, and panic claws up through my chest. The bond was never real, he hisses. I made sure of that myself. All I had to do was wait for you to remember. The words hit harder than his grip, and something inside me cracks open, a memory surfacing whole and sharp for the first time. A dim room, Doha's hands, a vial of something dark being pressed against my skin. My own voice, weak and terrified, saying, please, don't do this. You erased my memories, I gasp, fury rising hotter than fear. You attacked me. I saved you, Doha snarls, from a life you never wanted. That wasn't your choice to make. Iseok's voice cuts through the dark like a blade, and Doha barely has time to turn before Iseok slams into him, tearing him away from me with a force that sends them both crashing into the banister. I stumble back, chest heaving, watching the two brothers collide in the stormlight, years of buried rage finally breaking loose between them. You erased his memories, Iseok roars, pinning Doha against the splintered wood. You attacked a pregnant Omega and called it saving him. He was suffering, Doha spits back, blood on his teeth, bound to someone who would only ever put duty before him. That was never true, Iseok snarls, and you knew it. You just couldn't stand watching me have something you couldn't take. The two of them grapple violently, and I press myself against the wall, heart hammering, until Iseok finally slams Doha down hard enough that he doesn't get back up right away, chest heaving, blood and rain mixing on his face. It's over, Iseok says, voice shaking with restrained fury. You're done. Doha laughs weakly from the floor, defeated. Ask him if he even wants this life back. Ask him if he's happier not remembering you. Every eye turns to me, and the silence stretches unbearable and heavy. I look at Iseok, at the blood on his knuckles, the desperation barely hidden beneath his composed fury, and something inside me finally settles into certainty. I don't need the old memories, I say quietly, to know this is where I belong. Chapter 14, What Remains. The words hang between us, steady and sure, and Iseok's expression breaks open in a way I haven't seen from him yet, something raw and unguarded beneath all that danger. Doha's men are gone by the time Sujin returns, with lights restored, dragging him away in restraints, his threats fading into the storm as the last of his followers scatter. I barely register any of it, my whole body still trembling from the fight, from the memory that finally surfaced whole and undeniable. Iseok crosses the wrecked hallway toward me, careful despite the blood on his knuckles and the storm still raging outside the broken window. "You didn't have to say that," he says quietly, "about belonging here. I know." I press a hand to my chest, steadying my breathing. I meant it anyway. He reaches up, gently brushing a strand of wet hair from my face, and his touch no longer feels like something borrowed from a body I don't own. It feels like mine, chosen. "I failed you once," he says, voice low, rough with something that sounds dangerously close to vulnerability. "I let Doha get close enough to hurt you, because I was too focused on protecting my territory instead of protecting you. You're protecting me now," I say. "That's not enough," he murmurs. "Not for what you deserve." I close the small distance between us, resting my palm against his chest, feeling his heartbeat pound beneath my hand, fast and unsteady, in a way that has nothing to do with the fight we just survived. "Then don't stop," I whisper. "Keep choosing me, every day. That's enough." His forehead drops to mine, breath shaking, and for the first time since I woke up in this body 3 weeks ago, the fear that's been living in my chest quiets into something softer. Not safe exactly, not yet, but the beginning of it. "The twins," he murmurs against my skin. "They'll grow up knowing exactly how hard their father fought for their Omega." My hand drifts to my stomach, and for the first time, the thought doesn't fill me with dread. It fills me with something fierce and protective, something entirely my own. "They'll grow up knowing their Omega fought back too," I say. He huffs something close to a laugh, tired and relieved, and presses a kiss to my forehead, slow and reverent, like a promise neither of us needs to say out loud yet. Outside, the storm finally begins to break, the first hint of dawn bleeding gray light through the shattered window, and I let myself lean into him fully for the first time since this nightmare began. I didn't get to choose the body I woke up in. I didn't get to choose the danger that came with it. But I chose this. I chose him. And whatever comes next, I won't be running anymore. If this story keeps you hooked, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when we drop the next one. Share it with someone who loves a good BL Omegaverse story. See you in the next chapter,